Hello everybody, happy Monday. I actually made a video and a meditation yesterday, and when I listened to them again, something was wrong with the microphone, so the sound was kind of crackly. So I'm actually re-recording all of this and probably talk about something new, so that talk is now just gone in the universe. But one of the questions that I received about meditation on the group was a question about why we have trouble meditating, why it's hard for us to even get kind of like our butt on the seat to meditate. We know it's good for us, it feels good, but there's almost like an aversion to having to face ourselves. And I think this is an amazing point. It's important actually to realize this because, the mind anyway is moving and it's busy because there's an aversion, there's a feeling of dissatisfaction that the mind anyway is constantly looking for some kind of happiness in some other place. That the mind has a difficult time just being here. The mind thinks that if this was it, if this was great, if this was enough, why aren't I happy right now? Right? So the mind is thinking, okay, I need to maybe resolve something in the past. I need to maybe figure something out in the future. I need something right here that makes me feel better. I need something to like eat or drink or a person or sex or drugs or an adventure or something right now to make this moment feel more full, to make myself feel more fully alive. Or conversely, we feel like we need to get rid of something in this moment, right? Like I have a headache, I need to get rid of that. I'm stressed, I need to get rid of that. That we need to get rid of something and then we'll be okay. And this kind of wrong understanding, this wrong belief that happiness is always somewhere, it's very easy to validate also, right? You could definitely list off the reasons why this isn't it, that there's not enough here. But it's endless, right? We will always be looking for something else. I remember when I was a kid, my mom read me this book, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. And it's like if you give a mouse a cookie, he'll want to drink milk with it. If you give him milk, he needs a napkin. If you give him the napkin, he'll, I don't know, want to go outside and throw it like an airplane or something. If he's outside, he'll want to like lay down and look at the sky. If he looks at the sky, he'll want to like draw the clouds. And, it kind of keeps going until, the mouse gets really bored. And then he gets hungry and then he wants another cookie. And it's kind of just this endless cycle of wanting the next thing, wanting the next thing, wanting the next thing. And it is endless, and there is really nothing that's called like lasting satisfaction within that. So one of the things that we are going for in the meditation, it's finding that lasting satisfaction, and it's lasting because it's also, it's not really based on it's not based on like sensory pleasures, right? It's not like a taste. Something tastes good, right? You drink something, you eat something. It's this good taste, but then it's gone, right? It's then finished. You hear a good song, oh, it's nice, but then it's gone. There's like kind of a hole, a vacuum left afterwards because there's nothing else to hold on to. So it's not kind of to be found in the sensory level. And it starts to become apparent the more that you practice, the more that you start reflecting, that life, it's like a big learning process and there's a lot of things happening and you're never going to kind of get it right. You're never going to have your past sorted out. You're never going to really have your future completely pinned down either, right? So we're not going to be able to really control, hold on to anything. So this is kind of what the mind is always trying to do, right? It wants to hold on to things. It wants to keep things that feel good, push away things that don't. When you start getting in touch with the process, the flow of everything, you kind of start realizing there is nothing to hold on to. So then you start letting go, right? You start to release, you start to relax. And that process of letting go, releasing, relaxing, that actually starts to feel peaceful and relaxed. And suddenly you're getting that happiness, that contentment that you were looking for the whole time, but it's not through finally getting that thing you wanted. It's actually through finally letting go and allowing yourself just to be content, to be with whatever's here right now. Excuse me. So one of the other things is that because we have a difficult time just being here, we've built up a lot of habits to try to get out of this place. So a lot of us stay very busy, or we stay very distracted, at least. right? So we don't even have to be doing something, but maybe we'll just have our phone, or maybe we'll be going to the fridge and getting some food. We'll be calling somebody. We'll be just kind of relentlessly thinking about things. So we keep this momentum, right? This karmic force flowing and spinning and spinning and spinning. And then when it's time to sit, it's almost like if you've been like having a crazy day and you've been running around doing all this stuff, and then you have to get in bed at night, you keep spinning and spinning and spinning, right? There's a lot of people that have trouble sleeping, actually, because they're spinning so hard throughout the day that when they try to stop at the end, it's like, nope, it keeps going and going and going, and they just kind of lie in bed. It's like a big problem, I guess, for a lot of people, is they can't sleep at night. And this kind of inertia that we build up, it is also part of the reason why people have trouble meditating, because you're kind of going and going and going, and then, I say to you, okay, now stop. And for a lot of people, that's crazy. It's like, stop. I've been trying to keep moving. I woke up and I drank a coffee and I went to the gym and I'm going. And now you want me to stop. It almost feels like it's antithetical. It feels like it's going against what you want. But it's also not taking it as a priority. And this is something that's really important for everybody to see, is that, we have to shift our priorities around a little bit. For things that we know are good for us, we have to make them a priority, and we have to find the time to do them. And I mean, it's great that you're joining this group, or that you're part of this group already, because now at least we have this once a week meditation. I would say feel free to meditate more often. It doesn't just have to be once a week. You could use these videos and meditate with them kind of throughout the week, and then the next week take the new video and meditate with that throughout the week. So it's almost like each week use that week's meditation multiple times, and you can get deeper. This will really kind of have like a nice transformative effect, and you'll be able to kind of work through things in themes a little bit, right? Something that I found when I was in the monastery on retreat, I did a 3-month retreat, and I was pretty much alone all day long. One of the deepest kind of hindrances to my practice was actually a deep subconscious belief that only after even a month, I think it took me, of kind of practicing but kind of resisting, and I'd like read a lot. I read like a book every 3 days. I was like reading, and I was walking meditation a lot, but I couldn't really sit, and I was struggling, and I kind of had this this deep feeling in me, like I wasn't wanting to look at something. I wouldn't want to face something. And when I really sat down to meditate and I said, okay, Seth, face this. What's going on? I had this feeling like everything is meaningless. And it felt like resignation, and it felt really sad and kind of apathetic. And I kind of recognized this feeling that I feel like it was instilled in me as a child, and that it actually came through my family, and that it wasn't really something that was mine, but I had inherited and kind of carried with me. And it was scary, because I really felt that if I fully felt this feeling and acknowledged it, it's like game over, right? Everything's meaningless. God, like life's over, right? So I had to kind of be brave to do this. I had to really take a moment and say, Seth, whatever it is that you feel, whatever this is, you have my permission, feel it, right? I love you. I love you enough to be free of this, whatever it is. But the first step to being free of it is to really feel it and acknowledge it and see what it is. And I remember sitting there and having this feeling like everything is meaningless. And I breathed into it, and I felt it in my heart, and I felt it, and I felt it. And then slowly I kind of shifted, and the mind looked at it, and it looked around at the trees. It looked around at the nature and the things around me. And then it looked back, and it's like, trees just are there. They are, right? Like a fire, it's just there, it burns, it's in a state of being, that everything just is how it is, and I am too. And it's not that everything is meaningless, everything just is, it's just there, it's just natural, it's nature, it's in a state of being. And this was a really beautiful kind of shift when I realized, okay, that feeling that everything's meaningless, that was kind of like this very thin film of perception that I had over the world, that I never really wanted to engage in the world, because I was like, oh, it's all meaningless anyway. But when I kind of peeled back that film, I saw, no, things just are like they are. They're not good or bad or meaningless or have meaning. They're just kind of there. And this created like a new relationship and a new sense of freedom. And this was an important realization, especially because, again, this kind of perceptual film wasn't something that I had even seen before clearly. It was like I was walking around with colored glasses and I never knew. I just thought the world was this kind of shade. And I wasn't even clear that I was carrying that around. And this is something that starts to happen in meditation also when your practice starts getting deeper, right? When you start deepening your practice, you start getting to the more and more subtle layers of the mind. And you start kind of getting in touch with all of these perceptual kind of structures, these maybe beliefs that are still held together. And because you've never really looked at them, they've remained. And they're still influencing you in ways that you don't realize. So it's really important that throughout the meditation process, as you're practicing and getting deeper and deeper, you always fully allow yourself to feel things and acknowledge things, even if it's scary. I remember that somebody once told me that I was like too controlling or something, and I like got mad at them. And then I remember I was in the monastery and I was kind of going through the argument. I was like, how dare they say that to me? I'm not controlling. Da da da. And I said, Seth, why are you fighting? Who are you fighting against? Yeah, what is this really about? Yeah, this person's not even here. Why are you still fighting? And I kind of said, let's try an experiment. Okay, I am controlling. Okay, let's accept that. Okay, I am controlling. And I felt my heart like, no, don't accept that. And I said, it's okay, accept it. I'm controlling. And I thought, okay, I am controlling. Let me feel that. Okay, I'm controlling. And then I was like, yeah, well, I guess I kind of am controlling. There's things that I like and don't like and things I don't want around me, and I push them away, and I'm actually afraid a lot, and I feel vulnerable and insecure a lot, so I'm trying to control things to feel safe. And yeah, I am controlling, and it's okay. And I realized that I just had like a judgment on this, right? That I felt like a monster. Like if I accepted that I was controlling, I'm like a bad person. But when I really just allowed myself to feel it and look at it, I saw, yeah, it's quite normal. And actually some of it seems like healthy, and some of it seems like it comes from a place of maybe fear or sadness. But it's not bad. None of it makes me bad. So peeling off that judgment also allowed me to feel something and integrate it and not be holding it away from me, right? Which takes a lot of energy. And a lot of us do this with different things like feelings of not being good enough, right? Feelings of being like worthless, feelings of being like not acceptable, not wanted, right? That there's different feelings that we hold away from ourselves and we don't want to feel them, and we've been holding them away our whole lives. And a lot of us even build our lives in a certain way that we never have to feel that feeling, that you never have to feel like I'm not good enough. So I live a whole life structured around things that make me seem great, that put me in important positions, right? And if anybody ever tries to question me or point things out, I yell at them and I push them away and I bully them to shut up. So I never have to feel that. There's a lot of pollen out here, I think, yeah. Right? So anyway, a lot of us spend our whole lives not having to feel things, to build our lives around that. And when you sit down in the meditation, the thing is there's nowhere to go, right? And that's why it's so simple and it's so hard, because you're just sitting and you're facing yourself. So that's also why it's really beautiful and revolutionary practice, right? Is because you're making that step to say, I'm just going to stay here. I'm going to be with this like it is. I'm going to be with whatever is right here. And that's going to be my practice. That's going to be enough. Within that, I'm going to find clarity and understanding, and also my peace and my happiness. And that's kind of ultimately the point, is that slowly the mind is getting retrained to know that right here is actually okay. Right here is more peaceful. Right here is safe, right? Right here is good enough, right? Right here is valuable, right? This world, this place, this life, this is valuable. This is a good place to be. So we start building up these positive emotions. We start building up kind of the interest to be here, to accept and acknowledge and even believe that happiness is available right here. And this is all the process. And, for me, I often talk about meditation, about the happiness and the relaxation and the peace and kind of the positive things that are going to pull you in. But it's inevitable that as you're getting in there, you're going to come against all those blocks that aren't going to let you feel happy, that aren't going to let you feel peaceful, that don't want you to practice. You feel like you're lost. You feel overwhelmed. You feel frustrated. You feel like your life's a mess. That all this stuff kind of comes up, and a lot of people, they just run away. Yeah, a lot of people, they're spending their whole lives just running away, right? So as we're practicing, we're going to have to start coming in touch, in contact with that, those kind of negative, difficult, painful perceptions, and working with them, working through them, resolving them, right? And this takes a lot of, again, courage. This takes some focus, but I really think that it takes, above all else, self-love. Because you're saying, I want to be happy. I don't want to be putting up with things. I don't want to be kind of like living half alive. I don't want to be kind of subtly lying to myself all the time. And I don't want to always have to be fucking doing something else to be happy, right? I want to be able just to be here and to relax and to feel good. I want this to be enough. So this is kind of what I would say is one of the main reasons why people have trouble meditating. It's because it doesn't make sense to them, it doesn't feel good, and it's not a priority. So if we can start together really seeing that this does feel good, this works, this is important, this is going to lead me through some really important and maybe difficult processes, but that's going to ultimately lead to this openness and this freedom, and you'll have more life energy and more space to kind of be and do whatever you need to do. So the last part that I wanted to talk about, kind of involved in all of this, is to start to find a little bit of structure within your practice. And that could mean whether you're choosing a day that you're going to be meditating or a couple days that you're going to be meditating, but try to take that next step, right? Try to step up a little bit and to say like, okay, I'm at least going to meditate on Mondays when these talks come out, or at least I'm going to meditate on the weekend when I have a moment, or I'm going to come home from work, or I'm going to drive to work and in my car, I'm going to do the meditation. Try to reflect a little bit and make a bit of an agreement with yourself. Here's the time that I'm going to try to meditate. Because it's too easy to kind of let it go. It's too easy for it to just kind of spin out of control and for us to lose and forget it. So bringing a little bit of discipline into the mix is really helpful, and it's really a good thing. So that's pretty much it for this talk, right? And I'll lead a meditation. Stay tuned. I need to get something to drink. There's like thick pollen out here. So anyway, yeah, thank you all for being part of this group, and I'll talk to you next week.